अथ योगानुशासनम योग चित्तवृत्ति निरोध तदा द्रष्टु स्वरूपे अवस्थानम. So that as we start chanting, we'll be able to at least remember, okay? So I don't know whether you remember or not, I will at least remember. So we have been discussing from different angles differently. Hope you might have got some opportunity glance to look at your note or the previous classes recordings too. How when we were talking about that different bhumis, different aspects, different types or characteristics of mind, that was being talked as 5 types. And interestingly, in these 5 types, the last one comes Niruddham Vidya. So starting from Mudha, ending with Niruddham. So now that in Niruddham avastha alone, tada drashtuh swarupe avastha, the seer abides within its own nature. Now question may arise. Okay, that means only Niruddha avasthayam, the seer or the Purusha abides itself. So other stage doesn't abide. And if this is the case, then Purusha is no more Nityam. It is Anityam like any other person. Unpredictable, if you don't want to say translate Nitya as eternal, you can say predictable, unpredictable. So we don't need that. So how can you say that tada drashtu swarupe avasthana? So here we have to be very clear. Actually, drashtaha, the seer always abide within one's own self. There is no difference at all. How we give the example, traditional example is being given, that you have a crystal Meru or you have a crystal Shivalingam, any deity crystal. So when you have crystal deities, so generally you offer flowers, japa, kusuma. So the moment you start offering the flower, let us say today, you started offering only yellow flowers. Now when you start decorating with yellow flowers, especially behind nicely, now from a distance, what would be the color of crystal for your eyes? Definitely yellow or not. And moreover, if that yellow flower is being decorated, or you can say the crystal is being surrounded by the yellow flower in such a way, whichever angle you will look at, will it look at yellow or not? Will it be visible to you as yellow or not? Now tell me, when it is visible to you as yellow, in reality, the crystal, is it yellow or it is crystal, no color? So also Purusha, so also Drashta, the seer. So whether there is thought, whether the mind goes through instead of mudha, kshipta, vishipta, ekagram, whether mind goes through predominantly tamas or rajas or mixture of combination of these three rajas, sattva, raja, tama, three. Now, mainly what happens? The mind only creates a color like japa flower. But the Purusha is unaffected, untainted. But for the Vyavahara sake, for the transaction sake, now it is yellow in color. Tomorrow you remove yellow color flowers, you put red flowers, now the crystal will become red. Now whichever color is being surrounded by, based on that the crystal will appear. So as this happens with reference to crystal, here also based on the vrittis. So based on the thought processes, now the person appears. Purusha appears. But in reality, Purusha is untouched, unaffected. So keeping that in mind, now let us go to the Sutra number 4. Vritti Sarupyam Itaratra. So it says beautifully, if you look at Vrittihi Sarupyam. So when you look at this beautiful, this way of looking at, that Vritti means the modifications, the thought processes. Now, when the seer is going through all these processes, means when the mind has got its modifications, now there is identification. So when he says Vritti Sarupyam iti ratraha, we need to really look at very carefully few points. So that means we say it is exactly like Chittam is like magnet. So how the magnet starts pulling the iron, including iron stone. Wherever there is iron content, it will start pulling it. And not only that, interestingly, suppose if it is one iron is being connected to the magnet, that iron becomes magnet. That iron pulls some other one. Have you not observed? So how that happens? So also this Chittam. So Chittam here is means including Buddhi. We have discussed in the last class. When in Sankhya, they say Buddhi, in Buddhi there is Chittam. In Yoga, when they Chittam, there is Buddhi. So everything resolves. So Chitta means it's a complete package in Yoga Shastra. So that's why here, when he says this Chittam, now definitely starts attracting. Now interestingly, whatever it sees, so whatever, let us say the objects comes in front, now accordingly what happens? The Chitta starts picking it up. So that's why we say very carefully that when mind is being exposed to something, based on the exposure or exposition, not only the exposure changes, that also continues. In fact, that is what we call samskaras. Of course, we can say this point, we have different examples in different occasions. Like, suppose a person is exposed to the flowers all the time, definitely the person's mind setup will be entirely different. And of course, physically also, the fragrance of the flower will be there with the person. Especially in Indian context, okay? Indian flowers are very strong. Of course, unless you come across lavender and other things, okay? Whereas, if the same person or some other person, let us say same person, starts selling not fish, dry fish, okay? So that is called dry fish, okay? Stings from a distance, okay? Now, when the person starts selling or getting acquainted with dry fish, definitely there will be another type of smell from that person, thinking wise, also physically, the odor. So, how this happens? So, also with reference to our exposition. So, whenever we are being exposed, based on that, definitely it happens. That's why what happens? We need to look at our chitta vritti so that we can slowly go to niruddha avastha. The whole purpose is how to lead this chittam to niruddha avastha. So in order to explain this, how to lead to niruddham avastha, the next sutra highlights, and next sutra says, let us read. Vrutayah panchatayah klishta aklishta, or you can say klishta 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 aklishta. It says, look here, vrutayah, the modification of this vrittis, chitta vrittis, are fivefold. Panchataya. And what are they? It divides, because we will be seeing five. What are the five? Because in the next sutra is going to talk, so I don't have to talk. Okay? Pramana, vipareya, vikalpa, nidra, smriti iti. So this is the next sutra. Hold on. Okay? We don't have to go now quickly. And each one will be talked in details. We have many sutras for this. But when he says vrittayaha, this whole, you can say, the modification, the process of the mind comes under five categories. There are five kinds, or you can say fivefold. And it is being broadly divided. In general, it is divided into two parts. Based on their, let us say, remains less based on their impact on us. So, what impact they create? So, based on that, we divide into two categories. And what are they? One type of vritti is called klishta. So, klishta means painful in short. And other one is opposite of painful, means not painful. So when he says, one is klishta klesha hetuka iti. So when he says, that means what? Its root is in klesham. So when its roots is in affliction, and also it creates samskaras, that which creates pain in me. So that means I need to look at why this happens. Because first of all, I need to understand very carefully. Even though mind, here are five types, or it has got fivefold, or five types of characters. But we look at only mainly from our personal standpoint. You can say from psychological standpoint. I can look at academically five types of mind. You understand? But when I look at my mind personally. Because academically, professionally, when you look at something, academically look at something, finally, what that matters. So then when I look at all these minds in details, personally only it leaves two types of impression with me. Either it is painful for me or it is not painful for me. So if it is painful for me, I need to look at and I need to really look at how to handle them. If it is not painful, I need to look at how to extend. So that is what we all do it. That's why what is need to be done here is, says, look, when mind being the, let us say, fivefold, definitely this mind always depends upon many things. And when it starts depending upon many things, now based on that, based on the karma, because based on the action that we do, now there is some impact in my mind. And when it creates pain, some pain in me, remember, interestingly, it is not that only it is painful. So in painful, there is also no pain in between. And when there is no pain, in between there is pain. Can you see point? It is not that only 100% painful. It's not like that. Life is not like that. Somebody gives a beautiful example, which we have very popular example in Vedanta. The person wanted to go for hunting. In fact, a king goes for hunting. So as he goes for hunting, and whole day he almost wasted, he did not find any deer. Then he started chasing. Suddenly it became, he lost everything. Now he doesn't know what to do. Then he discovered that there is nobody around him. So he runs for his life. What to do? And discovers a tiger starts chasing. And that tiger happens to be leopard. Okay? Now what happens? He doesn't have any other choice. Now he starts running. He thought of climbing up a tree, already becoming dark. Now as he climbs up tree, okay, I can make it a little bit shorter. So becoming dark. Let us not so dark. So that is a fear. Now what happens? In between, now he starts climbing. Now when he starts climbing, the different stories are there. Now the leopard also starts climbing up. Now he is hanging. So when he is hanging, underneath he could see there is some water. And becoming dark, and he could see also, if he tries to push himself, he may jump to the bond, means to the land, where he can manage himself. But after some time, he starts hearing the big sound of crocodiles. So now if he tries to shake himself, now there is a fear that this branch may break. And leopard is sitting on the top. In this sort of painful situations, suddenly something falls on his hand. And that fellow discovers there is something sticky. So what is that? Now, very nicely, carefully holding one, pretending as though nothing has happened, or trying to become curious, tries to lick and discovers that is nothing but honey. Now when it discovers honey, what it does? Now tries to spread the hand. How come these honeys are not more flowing or not more falling down? In fact, because of the honey, the person is able to hang some more time in this painful situation. Just look at the life. Does it move that way or not? So, in painful situation, in klishta, There is also aklishta. Can you see this? One drop of honey. Also in aklishta, when there is no painful situation, you can see also there is pain. If nothing, at least the fear of this situation will go away. When it is going to come to an end, especially I notice people when they go for a holiday trip. It's an interesting thing. Once they reach the holiday destination, instead of enjoying the place, they will think of, oh, I have come far away, what will happen to my home? What is happening there? Is it okay? And especially ladies, okay? Gents also have got another fear, okay? My card is becoming lesser and lesser, okay? And when the holiday comes to an end, you know what happens. Before it comes to an end, already the person is in the home. You understand? So in reality, they don't enjoy holiday. But namesake, you move. So in aklishta, there is a klishta here. Okay, you understand? So whole life, when it moves, this klishta to aklishta, aklishta to klishta. So that means, in short, mind keeps fluctuating. And moreover, always mind looks at what it leaves behind. So when mind is concerned, or I am concerned about what it behind, what it leaves behind, then it is better to look at what are these 5 things and how these 5 things really contributes to klishta and aklishta. So let us read the sutra number 6. Pramana viparyaya vikalpa nidra smrutayah. Says beautifully. So these are the 5 things. The first one is called pramana. So when it says pramana, we'll be seeing in details. So that means pramakaranam, where the cognition takes place. So better to hold the word pramana, because there is definitions we'll be seeing in details. Then comes viparyaya. So this is opposite to pramana. Third one called vikalpa. That also will be seeing more imagination. Fourth one called nidra. That you are aware of it, okay? So who doesn't? In fact, Nidra Devi comes when the class happens. We say, somebody said, Swamiji, in your class Nidra Devi doesn't come because of 2 reasons. Because you are putting the camera and we are looking at you. And the worst part is you are looking at us very seriously. That's why Nidra Devi, even if wants to come, doesn't come. But definitely there is another Devi or lady comes. And what is that lady? In fact, 2 ladies comes. Sometimes confusion lady, other one is called smoke lady. So definitely there is a confusion lady who creates confusion, and other one is, because of that reason, smokes comes out. So these 2 ladies are there definitely, don't worry. Only in this class, okay? After that, slowly it will be easier. In fact, being little bit first time, it creates confusion. Slowly it will be clearer. It's a matter of time, okay? How? So this pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra and smruti. Now, question may arise. What do you mean by this pramana? That when you say pramana, so what does it mean? He says, look, the next sutra. We'll go ahead, whatever sutras are faster. Pratyaksha, anumana, agamaha, pramanani. Generally, here the difference you can see very carefully. In Vedanta Shastra, we look at 6 pramanas. Whereas here is being talked only 3 pramanas. So this is what the difference is, we have to be very clear, and how it talks also we can look at very carefully. So when it says that here among this, that first is pratyaksha. Because here he doesn't bring upamana, anumanam. That upamanam is not there, upama is not there, pramana is not there. Okay? So okay, we'll be discussing in details. Let us go step by step. Let me not jump. So first he says, look, so when you say pramana, first you have to look at pramana is first is called pratyaksha. So how do you look at this pratyaksha pramana? So pratyaksha pramana means we say that which has got direct perception. Pratyaksha nirupanam iti. So that means what? Here indriyas, the sense organs, are directly connected to the sense objects. And the brutihi comes directly, pratyaksha. So we call as when the experience takes place true to the object. That too with the help of the sense organs, organs of perceptions mainly. That is what is called as pratyaksha pramana, prati aksha in short. So aksha means sense organ, sense of perceptions. So that which is directly connected to, or the cognition that happens because of direct connection of sense organs or sense perceptions, all 5 organs of perceptions, that is what is called direct knowledge, you can say. But direct perception, better word, okay? So that is called here as pratyaksha. So when it says pratyaksha, generally many people do highlight about this pratyaksha pramana. In fact, if you look at present day, more relies upon pratyaksha pramana. And we say, the more you rely upon pratyaksha pramana, the more you become a gross person. Because we say, look, unless I see, I won't believe. That is a beautiful saying. Have you not observed that? Unless I know, how can I believe you? Now my question is, how can you have pratyaksha pramanam unless there is many other factors involved? Because pratyaksha pramanam to take place, there are many factors involved. As you know, you never see what is there, but always you see what you want to see. If we all start seeing what is there, there will be no problem. But how we look at? Our looking at everything, our perception based on my klishta or aklishta background. If my mind is painful, now what happens? All my perception will lead and give the confirmation to the painful experience or not. Whereas when my mind is not painful, all my perception will lead to what? So that means what I call as perception, it is more all about giving me confirmation. Can you see this point? For a common person, the perception is supposed to give knowledge. In general, perception is supposed to give knowledge. But what happens to a common person? Perception is always, direct perception. Direct perception is always used for confirmation. And because direct perception is used for confirmation, people are engrossed more and more in direct perceptions. And when direct perceptions are not available, there is something called e-perceptions, electronic perceptions. Like when you cannot see somebody's face, go to Facebook. So physically you cannot see somebody's face, so better to see the Facebook. But remember, Facebook profile photo is not life, okay? Nor Facebook postings are truth. Be clear and careful. Because somebody told very nicely, Facebook profile photos is worse than advertisements. Because in advertisement, at least there is some bit of truth and honesty, you understand? Some link will be there. Because there is a fear that you can sue them. Whereas Facebook profile photo has nothing to do with the person. Have you not observed? And especially with the different type of apps. What a beauty, what a handsome, even if the fellow is thin, can have 6 packs. Even if the lady is not horrible looking, let us say, can look so beautiful, do you know? So what I am trying to highlight here is, more and more I look into perceptions. More and more I spend time with this pratyaksha pramana, so that I will get what? Confirmations. However, then the second one is being highlighted, is called as anumana. So when it talks about anumana, we also need to look at, because why all these things are required to know. Because without that it will be very difficult. So when it says anumana, so anumana means inference. So when we look at this anumana, so we see something, and of course we try to come to a conclusion. And in anumana there is vyapti jnana, and sometimes that also can be questioned. And of course we say, when we do this anumanam time, when we try to infer, the inference is always based on my knowledge smruti, again which is come later on. Because it's like we have a beautiful concept. This example is meant for Chennai especially. This is a Chennai, typical Chennai example we give. You are sleeping. So morning you get up and you are staying in a apartment, and in front of you there is a road, nothing is there. So then what, when you get up and looked at, suddenly you discover the road is wet. In Chennai. So what is the conclusion? Must have rained. But in Chennai, need not be. Those who are from Chennai, they understand it, okay? Because in the night, This water lorries, many lorries have gone, and literally they have sprayed water not only on the road, wherever small things are there, that is also full. Have you not observed that? Then to get the confirmation, you try to look at your small veranda, small open place or terrace or whatever. Then you discover it is as dry as it was yesterday, maybe some more. Then what conclusion you come to think? First conclusion, seeing the water, oh, it might have rained. Then you say, oh. Then after that, seeing the terrace, nothing has happened, you get frustrated. This is what Anumana works. So most of the time your Anumanam is being questioned differently. Have you not observed this? And most of the time you work with Anumana here in this case. That's why he says Pramanani 3. One is Pratyaksha, and second one he says Anumana. The life is always governed with mainly, let us say, this Anumana. And in order to strengthen the Anumanam, we do take the help of Pratyaksha, direct perception. Like the example I gave. What is the example? That it might have rained. Now you want to get the confirmation. So what is the confirmation? The confirmation is whether your terrace is wet or not. Let us say a common terrace. Somebody in the morning has, some flower pots are there. Somebody has sprinkled some water while giving the water to the flower pots. What will be your conclusion? Road is wet, your terrace is wet. That means what? Definitely it has rained last night. But in reality, is it true? So you can see how the Anumanam influences our life a lot. And of course, we'll be seeing in detail sometimes how this Anuman works. And how again Anumanam is being influenced main by Klishta and Aklishta. In fact, the whole game of Anumanam is on Klishta and Aklishta. If it is painful, you know what sort of Anuman you have. All the Anumanam, all the inferences, all your mind will work only related to that. That's why we use the very carefully, the word is like, the Vrittis are like Indian noodles, not Chinese noodle, okay? Because Indian noodle is very interesting. When you say Indian noodle, sometimes they give this instant noodle packet. Those days in the train they used to give. Nowadays I do not know that they give or not, because long time I have not gone. Must be giving. So sometimes I see in the flight also they give. So noodles. So when you open that noodle, and interestingly what they do, so they will give just hot water and keep it and hand over to you. Now if you pick up the noodles, this is called Indian noodle. One portion there will be water. Other portion will be all the spices. You understand? So each one is different. And when you pick up the watery portion, only watery noodles will come. Zero spice. Have you not observed? When you come to this spicy portion, only spicy. In between, you will see some mixture will be there. That's why what they say, completely stir it, mix it properly. Then if you start using, then you will really enjoy these noodles. So also the mind. So mind, if you observe a group of thought, whether it's Klishta or Aklishta, if mind is leading to Klishta, you will discover only Klishta thoughts will come. Literally, it is connected to only one. If it is painful, only painful, one after another. And also you will give the logic, why I should not have pain? In fact, my neck is paining, my back is paining, my this is paining, my that is paining. You understand? This is physically. Mentally, oh, this is not working, that is not working, I don't know. So you think that everything is collapsing, and nothing is collapsing except you, okay? Please remember, okay? So also when mind is good. So when my mind is good, what I look at, how I look at, everything I look at as good. All my thoughts related to that becomes good. That's why anumana. And the third one is says here, agama. So agama here means shastra. So that means shabda as pramanam. So when shabda becomes pramana, shastra becomes pramana, there we need to what? The help of what? We need the help of a teacher. Because unless there is a teacher, this shastra cannot be unfolded either. So that's why we need to look at also both, not only sabda, because sabda also gives the knowledge, but sabda to be unfolded, we need the help of teacher. That's why we say very nicely here, as we say, Guru Vedanta Vakyeshu. So both here, not Vedanta, Shastra and Guru words. Shishta word, sometimes you use word also. Shishta Vakyam. A competent person, they use this word. Siddha Vakyam iti. So that means Shastra is to be unfolded. So this is called Pramanas. And of course, after this Pramana, the next sutra is going to talk how this works. Because what you call this cognition. So because when this Pramana first comes, 3, then comes Viparyeya. What is Viparyeya? That we'll be seeing in our next class. Please close your eyes. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.